Green and Gold 115 coming back at you for part 10. Last part, the girls all talked about nothing for about 8 minutes. Sayori finds pleasure in the simplest things sometimes. Simpleton. Hey Sayori, what exactly are we doing for the festival anyway? I'm not sure how you would make an event out of literature. It's called a movie. Me and Monica have it all planned out. Don't you worry. Oh, is that so? Yup, we're gonna do a poetry performance. A performance? Of what kind? That is very much not our culture, Sayori. Well, everyone is gonna take turns on stage and recite their favorite poems. Oh, that sounds kinda dull. Senpai Chris, you're not thinking about it the right way at all. It's not just about reading poems, it's about performing them. Like, you say the lines of the poem like, between my feet, the last remaining flower beckons unto me. I twist at the stem, freeing it from its clinging roots, caressing the final joyous moment between my fingers. But to what ends have I summoned this joy? For now, when I look in every direction, the once prosperous field before me is but a barren wasteland. Like that. Sayori, how do I put this? I'm sure it's just me, but it's impossible for me to take you seriously when you speak that way. You meanie. I'm working super hard on this, you know? Oh, I know, sorry. I just meant that it's pretty unordinary in contrast to your cute self. Oh, now I'm hitting on Sayori. Haha, don't say that. It's so embarrassing. But I guess that means I'm doing a good job. Yeah, I guess so. I'm so excited. The festival is going to be so much fun. Sayori spins herself around in the hallway again. Hey Senpai Chris, this classroom over here is empty. Let's begin the mission. Oh, the mission, eh? It's been a long time since I've spent time with Sayori like this. But in the end, she hasn't changed one bit. There's nothing but a ball of sunshine, drawing happy vibes from the worlds around her. It's a pretty nostalgic feeling for me. Kinda weird. As the years went by, I began to hold myself up in my room more and more. So going adventuring with Sayori brings about a special sort of feeling I forgot I had in me. I'm learning how to not read manga. The two of us enter the classroom. Sayori heads straight to the closet and I follow. Let's see what we have in here. Crayons! Sayori pulls a box full of crayons off the shelf. They're the best brand too, the 64 pack with the built-in crayon sharpener in the box. They're kinda dirty though. Sayori starts pulling various colors out of the box, reading the color names. Alright, that's one down. Don't get distracted, we still need to find... Wait, I'm looking for my favorite color. Oh fuck, fine. Then at least move aside so I can look for the poster paper. Oh, I dropped one by accident. Smack. Sayori bends over and smacks her forehead right into the shelf. No brain cells were harmed. She falls to the floor and crayons spill all over her lap. Ow. Oh, you okay? My forehead. Sayori clutches her forehead. Oh, geez, Sayori. That's just like you, isn't it? Come on, let me see. Since Sayori is sitting on the floor, I grab her by the waist and pull her out of the closet. Oh, wow. You have to move your hand, Sayori. Oh, but it hurts. Just do it for a second, pussy. Okay, this is suggestive. Sayori slowly releases her hands from her forehead. I gently brush her bangs to the side. Ow, says Sayori. Oh, sorry. There's a huge red mark on the center of her forehead. A bump is starting to form as well. Man, now that's gonna swell up. You're gonna look like a caveman. Should find you some ice. Oh, Senpai Chris, where would I even find ice around this time? I guess a cold drink would do. Oh, you don't have to. I'm fine with looking like a unicorn. Even wincing from the pain, Sayori makes a silly joke. Oh, what are you saying, Sayori? I'll be right back, don't you worry, okay? Okay. You couldn't find your crayons in that box of 10 crayons? I pat Sayori on the shoulder and run out into the hallway. I locate the nearest vending machine. What should I get? Doesn't really matter, since it will be used as an ice pack rather than to drink. But I know Sayori likes apple juice, so I purchase that one. In just a moment, I'm already returning to the classroom where I left Sayori. She has one palm on her forehead and is using the other hand to clumsily scoop the crayons back into the box. At least they were already in the wrong spots before I spilled them. No, Sayori, they weren't. They were in the exact right spots. Here you go. I hand Sayori the bottle of apple juice. Okay, it's nice and cold. Sayori opens the cap and starts drinking from it. Sayori, what are you doing? It's for your forehead, you idiot. Oh, sorry, I forgot. I was so thirsty. How hard did you hit your head? Sayori places the bottle against the bump on her head. It stings. Oh, just bear with the pain, Sayori. It'll feel better soon. It looks like you cleaned up most of the crayons, so at least you got that going for you. Hey, Senpai Chris, this kind of reminds you of growing up, doesn't it? What do you mean? You know how you used to play outside all the time? I'd always try to keep up with you. You were kind of obvious in some ways. Like I usually fell behind or had trouble climbing on the things you did. But sometimes when I tried to do things I couldn't, I would get myself hurt. I'd fall and scrape myself and get a bump, and I would start crying real hard. Ahaha. Ahaha. And you wouldn't brush over it as quick as you could. You would try really hard to get me to stop crying. It was almost like you blamed yourself and were afraid of getting in trouble if someone found out. Yeah, I had a really abusive father who just looked for any reason to beat my head in, so the neighbor girl annoying him by crying while I was playing with her, and that was enough. So there you go, there's your romantic story from when we were kids, which is weird again. This game's kind of weird in not the right ways. Even though it really wasn't your fault, you know? Did I really do that? I don't remember. Come to think of it, maybe I do remember a bit. I was always so focused on my games that I didn't pay enough attention to you. Oh, every man's problem. Achievements over women. So in a way, it was my fault. Kind of like this time too. If I wasn't rushing you out of the closet, you probably wouldn't have hit your head. Is that foreshadowing for her being gay? Senpai Chris, I don't think you realize, but you're always thinking about other people, even after all these years. You're rushing to help me, even though I'm just being clumsy. You're really a sweetheart. Oh, don't call me that. And I don't really do this kind of thing for all the time for everyone. I guess when it comes to you, it just feels natural. Before I even know it, I'm treating you like that. Oh, so weird. I guess that's what happens when you've been friends for so long. That's what me and Costa do. And every time he bumps his head, I go get him some cold apple juice. And that's why we're such good friends. I'm so glad nothing's changed between us. Do you think it'll be like this forever? Or forever? If I'm honest to myself, there's no telling where we'll end up for college, or after that. So it wouldn't be fair for me to make any promises to this dumb idiot with a welt on her head on the ground, so I'll just say, well, I hope so, Sayori. It's been this long already, right? I can't imagine you ever changing. You're incapable due to the small size of your noggin. So my hopes are up. Sayori says, I'm so happy. Sayori has a whimsical expression in her eyes. We remain silent for just a moment. She's so silly and clumsy on the outside that when I see her deep in thought like this, it makes me not want to disturb her, lest that she'd lose that thought and go back to being a dumb airhead. As Sayori says, I guess we should go back. I don't want to worry Monica, you know? And I say, good luck with that. She's gonna see your forehead either way, you dingus. Not if I hide it under my bangs. Yep, that was always an option. You've had bangs since the beginning of the game. I just assumed you hitting your forehead, the fact that you had to uncover it for you to see it means you would just hide it under your bangs naturally. Oh, this song's kinda jazzy. And it's got some woodwind. Sayori hops to her feet. She clutches her forehead again. Don't stand up so fast after hurting yourself. Ooh. Well, I guess it's too late now. Anyway, let's go, you dumb hurt bitch. I follow Sayori out of the classroom. Sayori plays with her bangs to try to hide the bump, but without much success. In a moment, we make it back to the club room. Ah, you're back, says Monica. Good timing. I was just about ready to start with sharing our poems. Sayori, your forehead. She's fine, don't worry about... I was playing with the crayons and I smacked my forehead into the shelf. Oh, aren't I so stupid? And then Monica's just... Anyway, were you able to find everything we needed? Uh-huh, I have it right. Sayori... Sayori frantically glances around herself. I did forget all the stuff. Calm down, Sayori. I have it all right here, of course. I found the poster paper too, in case you were wondering. Aha! Sounds like you ended up doing all the work, Senpai Chris. Ah, well, Sayori, you know. I failed to come up with an excuse for Sayori. She's so pathetic and embarrassing and shameful. I made it an adventure. Yeah, that. Aha, okay. In any case, good work. I'll start working on the posters tonight. Me too. Okay, everyone. Are you ready to share your poems? Guess I should grab mine. After making sure the crayon box is closed tightly, I return to my seat. Who should I show my poem to first? First, eh? I want to read... Whoops. I want to read Natsuki's first, so I'm going to go to her first. Well, it's not really worse than your last one, but I can't really say it's any better either. Whew. Huh? Phew, what? Ah, well, anything that isn't a train wreck, I'll take as a dub. And I get the feeling you're probably the most critical, hands down. Hey, what makes you so... Was that a compliment? Ah, glad to see someone recognizes my experience. Well then, keep practicing and maybe you'll be as good as me someday. That's, something tells me Natsuki completely missed the point. Come to think of it, this kind of reminds me of Sayori's poem from yesterday. Ah, you think so, huh? Yeah, well I guess you could have been friends with her for so long, you might be on the same wavelength. But you never really struck me as her type. Sayori has a type all of a sudden? Well, I don't know, but honestly, how can someone so, fluffy spend so much time with someone like you? It's like she's dragging around a dead weight. You dead, boring, dead weight manga nerd. Masturbator. Well that was a little unnecessary, especially the masturbator part. But think of it this way, if it weren't for me, she would probably just fly away, like letting go of the balloon. You could say we take care of each other in our own way. That's my controller battery dying. Whatever it is, I don't get it. Oh yeah, I'm supposed to show you my poem. Here. Alright. Well, this one's very long. Right now, I'm not seeing anything in the line work. Amy likes spiders. You know what I heard about Amy? Amy likes spiders. Icky, wriggly, hairy, ugly spiders. That's why I'm not friends with her. Oh, is this about Amy or is this about Yuri? Amy has a cute singing voice. I heard her singing my favorite love song. Every time she sang the chorus, my heart will pound to the rhythm of the words. But she likes spiders. That's why I'm not friends with her. One time I hurt my leg really bad. Amy helped me up and took me to the nurse. I tried not to let her touch me. She likes spiders, so her hands are probably gross. That's why I'm not friends with her. Amy has a lot of friends. I always see her talking to people. She probably talks about spiders. What if her friends start to like spiders too? That's why I'm not friends with her. Doesn't matter if she has other hobbies. Doesn't matter if she keeps it private. Doesn't matter if it doesn't hurt anyone. It's gross. She's gross. The world is better off without spider lovers. And I'm gonna tell everyone. That was a bit pointed. It feels more like a manifesto than it really does a poem. Well, I'm just gonna digest that and say that she knows something about someone and despises him for it. And based on the fact that she fought with Yuri yesterday, I think it might be her. Not bad, right? Wow, that's a lot longer than yesterday's. Yeah, yesterday's was too short. But I was just warming up, duh. I hope you didn't think that was the best I could do. Oh no, of course not. Anyway, the message is pretty straightforward in this poem. I doubt I have to explain it, do I, dummy? Sometimes you can explain complicated issues with such simpler analogies. And it helps people realize how stupid they're being. Like, anyone would agree that the subject of this poem is an ignorant jerk. Do you know people like that? Of course. It's about how everyone thinks That doesn't matter. It could be about anything. I wrote it to be easy to relate to. Everyone has some kind of weird hobby or guilty pleasure. Sometimes that you're afraid if people find out they make fun of you or think less of you. But that just makes people stupid. Who cares what someone likes as long as they're not hurting anyone and it makes them happy? I think people really need to learn to respect others for liking weird things. Well, you're definitely right. Disclaimer, not sure I agree with that. There are some things you do that are not favorable. At least I can relate to that, dude. I've got a weird guilty pleasure that I don't want anybody to know about, but don't ask me about it. Also, are you a first year? And I'm sure a lot of other people can too. And there's more like me. That's some weird dialogue. Alright. I don't like writing unless there's a good message to take away from it. Like, conveying emotions is important. But I want to make people think, not just feel. Remember that. I'm gonna write a good one for tomorrow too, so look forward to it. Who should I show my poem to next? Well, I can't get any stranger than that. Let's see if Yuri also wrote about their fight yesterday. Let's see what you've written for today. Well done, Senpai Chris. Your skills are already improving. Really? Thanks, Yuri. Coming from you, that means a lot. It's nothing. I'm just happy to inspire fellow writers. I know you're new to this, so don't worry about so much if it seems like you can't get your poem to feel perfect. You don't need to be afraid to be a little more daring. Metaphors can go a long way. Don't feel like you need to work your brain like turning a bunch of gears. Try letting your mind wander through your feelings and write down the things you see and hear. That's one way to enable your reader to see into your mind. It's a very intimate exercise. Oh, I see. That's certainly an interesting technique, Yuri. Thanks for sharing. I have, well, an example of that if you'd like to read it. Well, of course I'd like to read it. Is it the poem you wrote for today? Yuri nods and timidly hands me her poem, her hand shaking and the wetness of her palm smudging a letter. Timth. Alright. The raccoon. Happened in the dead of night while I was slicing bread for a guilty snack. My attention was caught by the scuffling of a raccoon outside my window. That was, I believe, the first time I noticed my strange tendencies as something human. I gave the raccoon a piece of bread, my subconscious well aware of the consequences. Well aware that the raccoon that it's fed will always come back for more. The exciting beauty of my cutting knife was the symptom. The bread, my hungry curiosity, the raccoon, an urge. Oh, she's not talking about a raccoon, she's talking about hurting herself. The moon increments its fades and reflects that much more light off my cutting knife. The very same light that glistens in the eyes of my raccoon friend. I slice the bread, fresh and soft. The raccoon becomes excited. Or perhaps I'm merely projecting my emotions onto the newly satisfied animal. The raccoon has taken to following me. You could say that we've gotten quite used to each other. The raccoon becomes hungry more and more frequently, so my bread is always handy. Every time I brandish my cutting knife, the raccoon shows me its excitement. A swish of blood. Classic Pavlovian, a rush of blood, a classic Pavlovian conditioning. I slice the bread, and I feed myself again. Well, okay, if this is going to take more of a classic slasher route, then I would say that the raccoon is definitely a demon or some outside force motivating her to kill. If it's a more introspective, deep poem, it's the raccoon is her own, mental illness and depression, which enjoy when she is to hurt herself with a knife. So that's a pretty dark one, Yuri. You really stepped it up from last time. I was a little more daring with this one than yesterday's. Yeah, you'd think. I can see that. It's a lot more metaphorical. I don't know if it's my fault, but I can't begin to imagine what this poem is about. That's right. It's a bit closer to my preferred writing style, using the poem as a canvas to express vivid imagery, conveying emotions through them. Yeah, if I take it at face value, then I can't even figure out what it's supposed to mean. What's that about a raccoon? Well, it's something that different people can relate to in their own way. I wanted to express the way it feels for me to indulge in my more unusual hobbies. It's those sorts of things that I'm usually forced to keep to myself. The outfit is long sleeve too, so you wouldn't be able to tell if it is about hurting yourself. So I sometimes enjoy writing about them. Huh, that's funny. Didn't Natsuki also write something about that? About someone being ridiculed for a strange interest? She did? Yeah. She was talking about how it doesn't matter what you're into as long as you're not hurting anybody. She's right. I mean, does she really feel that way? Yeah. Sounds like you two have that in common. That's interesting. To me, she seemed kind of like the person that would make fun of my hobbies. But I suppose that's my fault for judging, isn't it? Oh, please don't tell her I said that. Don't worry, I have no reason to. Okay. Well, thank you for sharing it with me. After all, if I hadn't learned to embrace my own weirdness, I would probably hate myself. I might be ranting a bit now, but I'm glad that you're a good listener. Who should I show my poem to next? You know who I think I need to show my poem to next? A cliffhanger that we will find out about tomorrow, because today it is 10:02 p.m. and it is a work night. So, my dear listeners, I wish you a great night and a better future as we end on that depressing poem note about harming yourself or harming others. And that's just how we do it. So, until next time, hopefully it's not a giant month span, Green and Gold 115, out on Doki Doki Literature Club.